What if the quiet strength you've carried all along is not ordinary but sacred? Could your unseen tears, relentless faith, and grace under pressure be signs of divine favor? Imagine discovering that everything you've endured was shaping you into a woman heaven proudly calls blessed. My dear friends, I want you to hear me today, not just with your ears, but with your heart. Because what I am about to tell you is not just a message. It is a revelation that could change your life forever. In a world that constantly tries to define who you are, I want to ask you, do you know who you are in the eyes of God? Do you know what it means to be a woman truly blessed by Him? Some of you may feel unworthy. Some may feel lost. Others may wonder if God has forgotten them. But I tell you today, if you recognize these 8 signs in your life, you are not just any woman. You are a woman highly favored by God, and when you know that you will stop doubting, stop fearing, and start walking in the power He has given you. So don't turn away. Don't let the distractions of this world keep you from hearing what God has to say to you right now. Stay with me, because by the end of this message, you will have no doubt in your heart. You are a woman chosen, cherished, and called for a divine purpose. A blessed woman knows that she is not here by accident. God has placed her in this world for a reason. No matter where you come from, no matter what your past looks like, He has called you by name. The Bible says, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you." Jeremiah 1:05. You are not forgotten. You are chosen. The enemy wants you to live in fear, but a woman of God walks by faith. She may face struggles, but she does not let fear control her. She believes in God's promises even when she cannot see the outcome. A woman blessed by God carries His love in her heart. She forgives when others hold grudges. She loves when others choose hate. She serves when others turn away. And because of that, the world sees Christ in her. Being blessed does not mean an easy life, but it means having God's strength to endure. When storms come, she does not fall. She stands. Why? Because her foundation is Christ. A woman blessed by God does not fight her battles alone. She gets on her knees and prays. And when she prays, things begin to move. The heavens respond to her faith. She does not rely on her own understanding, but seeks God in all things. She prays before making decisions. She seeks counsel from His word, and because of that, she walks in favor. So I ask you today, do you see these signs in your life? Do you recognize God's blessing upon you? If you do, then stand firm, walk boldly, and know this: you are a woman, blessed by God, chosen for such a time as this. Let the world see His light in you, and may His favor rest upon you always. A man, a woman blessed by God, is not here by accident. She is not just another person walking through life trying to figure things out without direction. No, she has been called by name, chosen before the foundations of the world, and set apart for a divine purpose. God's hand has been upon her life from the very beginning, even in moments when she could not see it. He knew her before she was formed in her mother's womb, and He designed every detail of her life with intentionality. This calling is not based on what the world says about her. It is not based on her past, her mistakes, or the struggles she has faced. It is not determined by her background, her family name, or the circumstances she was born into. A divine calling comes directly from God, and when He calls, nothing can cancel His plan. People may try to discourage her. Society may try to put limits on her. She may even doubt herself at times. But when God has placed a calling on her life, no human opinion, no obstacle, and no setback can take it away. Often the enemy tries to deceive women into believing they are not good enough. He whispers lies, saying they are too broken, too unworthy, or too ordinary to be used by God. But look at the women God has called throughout history. Esther was an orphan, Yet God raised her to be a queen who saved an entire nation. Ruth was a widow, yet God positioned her to be part of the lineage of Jesus Christ. Mary was a young girl from a small town, yet she was chosen to carry the Savior of the world. God does not call the qualified. He qualifies the called. A woman who is truly blessed by God will recognize this calling in her life. Even when it feels beyond her ability to fulfill, she understands that it is not about her strength, but about God working through her. She learns to surrender her plans and trust His direction, even when the path is unclear. She embraces her purpose, knowing that it is not just for her benefit, but for the glory of God and the impact on others. There will be seasons where she may feel unseen or forgotten. There will be times when she faces trials that make her question everything. But even in those moments, God is working. He is shaping her, refining her, and preparing her for what is ahead. Every challenge, every hardship, and every victory is part of the journey toward fulfilling His divine calling. A blessed woman walks with confidence, not because of who she is, but because of whose she is. She does not shrink back in fear, but steps forward in faith. She knows that if God has called her, He will equip her. If He has given her a mission, He will make a way. Her life is a testimony of His power, and through her obedience, His name is glorified. A woman blessed by God does not let fear control her life. Fear may knock on her door, but she refuses to let it in. She knows that fear is not from God. For His word says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." Fear is the weapon the enemy uses to paralyze, to make people doubt, to stop them from stepping into their calling. But a woman blessed by God knows that faith is stronger than fear, and she chooses to walk by faith, not by sight. Faith is not just believing when everything is easy, when doors are opening, and when life is going smoothly. Faith is standing firm when the storm is raging, when the answers are delayed, when the breakthrough seems impossible. A blessed woman does not depend on what she sees. She depends on who she knows, and she knows that her God is faithful. She knows that even when the path is uncertain, His promises never fail. She knows that even in the darkest valley, He is walking with her. This kind of faith does not mean she never feels fear. There will be moments when uncertainty rises, when doubts whisper, when she wonders how things will work out. But instead of letting fear take root, she turns to God. She remembers the victories He has already given her, the battles He has already won on her behalf. She reminds herself that He has never failed her before, and He will not fail her now. A woman who walks in faith understands that obedience often requires stepping into the unknown. Look at the women in the Bible who chose faith over fear. Esther could have been afraid to speak up for her people, but she chose to trust God's plan. Ruth could have let fear stop her from following Naomi into a foreign land, but she chose faith and walked into her destiny. Mary could have let fear overwhelm her when the angel told her she would carry the Son of God, but instead she responded with faith. "Let it be unto me according to your word." Luke 1:38. Faith does not remove challenges. It gives the strength to overcome them. It is faith that allows a woman to face adversity with courage. It is faith that keeps her standing when everything around her is shaking. It is faith that allows her to declare, even in the middle of her struggles, God is still good and He is still in control. A woman blessed by God chooses faith every single day. She wakes up believing that God is with her. She moves forward knowing that He is guiding her. She refuses to let fear steal her joy, her purpose, or her peace. No matter what comes her way, she holds on to faith. And because of that, she walks in the blessing and favor of God. A woman blessed by God carries a heart that reflects His love. She does not live for herself alone, but pours out kindness, grace, and mercy to those around her. Her compassion is not just an emotion, it is an action, a way of life, a testament to the love of Christ working within her. She understands that the greatest commandment after loving God is to love others, and she does so not because it is easy, but because it is her calling. Compassion is not selective. It is not reserved for those who are kind in return. A woman of God loves, even when it is difficult. She forgives when others would hold on to resentment. She helps those who have nothing to offer in return. She chooses grace over judgment, kindness over criticism, and love over hate. Her heart is soft toward the hurting, the broken, and the lost because she remembers that she too has been redeemed by God's grace. This kind of compassion is not weakness, it is strength. The world often sees kindness as a vulnerability, but in reality, it takes incredible courage to love without limits, to extend mercy where none is deserved, and to keep giving even when there is no recognition. A woman blessed by God understands that true love is sacrificial. She knows that Christ himself was the ultimate example of compassion, healing the sick, feeding the hungry, forgiving the sinner, and even laying down his life for the unworthy. Her compassion is not just in words, it is in her actions. She sees the needs of others and does something about them. She visits the lonely, comforts the grieving, and prays for the weary. She listens when others need to be heard. She gives generously, knowing that everything she has is a gift from God. She does not serve out of obligation, but out of love, because she understands that when she serves others, she is serving God himself. A compassionate woman also knows that love does not always mean saying yes. There are times when love requires correction, when standing for truth is the most loving thing to do. She does not enable sin or avoid hard conversations, but she speaks truth in love. She does not give in to bitterness even when others mistreat her, because she knows that her kindness is not a reflection of them. It is a reflection of Christ in her. She loves because he first loved her. She forgives because she has been forgiven. She gives because she has been given much. She understands that every act of kindness, no matter how small, has the power to change a life. Her compassion is a light in a dark world, a reflection of God's heart, and a sign that she is truly a woman blessed by him. A woman blessed by God is not defined by the trials she faces, but by the strength she carries through them. She does not crumble when adversity comes her way. She stands firm, knowing that her strength is not her own, but comes from the Lord. Life will throw hardships, disappointments, and painful moments her way, but she is not shaken because she knows who holds her together. She is resilient, not because she has never been broken, but because every time she has fallen, God has lifted her up. Her strength is not loud or boastful. It is quiet, but unshakable. It is the strength of a woman who has walked through fire and come out refined, not consumed. It is the strength of a woman who has been wounded, but continues to love, who has been betrayed, but chooses to forgive, who has faced loss, but still holds on to hope. She knows that resilience is not just about surviving, it is about overcoming. It is about pressing forward even when she is weary, about trusting God even when she does not understand his plan, about rising up when everything in her wants to stay down. The world often mistakes resilience for independence. But a woman of God knows that true strength does not come from doing everything alone. She leans on her Savior, finding her strength in him. She knows that when she is weak, he is strong. She has learned that strength is not always about fighting. It is sometimes about surrendering, about laying her burdens at the feet of Jesus and trusting him to carry what she cannot. She understands that resilience is not about having no struggles, but about knowing that those struggles will not defeat her. A resilient woman has scars, but those scars are proof that she has been healed. She has walked through storms, but those storms have only drawn her closer to God. She has faced seasons of silence, of waiting, of uncertainty, but she has learned to trust in God's timing. She does not fear the future because she knows who holds it. She does not allow fear or doubt to dictate her life because she has seen God work before and she knows He will do it again. Her strength is also a testimony to others. When people see her endure trials with faith, when they see her keep going when most would give up, they are drawn to the source of her strength. Her life becomes a living example of God's faithfulness. She does not need to prove herself because her life speaks for itself. She stands not in her own power, but in the power of the God who has called her, strengthened her, and equipped her for every battle she will face. And no matter what comes her way, she knows that with God by her side, she will always rise again. A woman blessed by God understands that her strength does not come from her own abilities, but from the time she spends on her knees in prayer. She knows that true power is not found in earthly success, in wealth, or in recognition, but in her connection with the Almighty. Prayer is not just a habit for her. It is her lifeline, her refuge, and her greatest weapon in times of trouble. She does not see prayer as a last resort, but as her first response. When challenges arise, when confusion sets in, when the weight of the world feels unbearable, she turns to God before turning to anyone else. She understands that prayer is not just about asking God for things. It is about aligning her heart with His will. She does not pray only when she needs something. She prays because she longs to be near to Him. She prays because she knows that in His presence she finds peace. She prays because she understands that without God she can do nothing. But with Him all things are possible. Her prayers are not empty words. They are filled with faith, with trust, with expectation that God hears and answers. A woman of prayer does not let circumstances shake her faith. Even when the answer does not come immediately, even when God's response is different from what she expected, she continues to pray. She knows that God is faithful, that His timing is perfect, and that His plans are always greater than her own. She does not pray in fear, but in confidence, knowing that she is speaking to a God who loves her, who sees her, and who is working all things together for her good. Her prayer life is not just personal. It impacts those around her. She prays for her family, covering them with the protection of God's hand. She prays for her friends, lifting them up when they are weak. She prays for her church, her community, and even for those who have wronged her. She knows that prayer is not just about changing situations. It is about changing hearts. And through her prayers, lives are transformed. This kind of woman does not just pray occasionally. She lives a life of prayer. She talks to God throughout her day, seeking His wisdom in every decision. She wakes up with gratitude in her heart and goes to bed with trust in His promises. She knows that prayer is not just a religious duty, but a divine privilege. It is in prayer that she finds clarity, direction, and renewed strength. It is in prayer that she learns to hear God's voice, to walk in His peace, and to stand firm in her faith. She may not always see immediate results, but she knows that every prayer she lifts up is heard. She understands that God moves in ways beyond her understanding. She does not waver, does not give up, does not lose faith, because she knows that a woman who prays is a woman who walks in the power and blessing of God. A woman blessed by God does not rely on her own understanding. She seeks wisdom from the Lord in all she does. She knows that true wisdom does not come from the world, from experience alone, or from mere intelligence, but from God Himself. The Bible says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." Proverbs 9:10, and she lives by this truth. She does not make decisions based on emotions, trends, or pressure from others. She makes them through prayer, discernment, and trust in God's guidance. Wisdom is not just about knowledge. It is about applying God's truth to daily life. A wise woman guards her heart, her mind, and her words. She understands that every decision she makes has consequences, and she seeks the Lord before taking action. She does not rush into things, but waits on God's timing. Even when the world pushes her to react quickly, to chase after temporary things, or to follow the crowd, she stands firm in the knowledge that God's way is always best. She surrounds herself with godly counsel, knowing that wisdom is often found in seeking advice from those who walk with God. She does not let pride keep her from learning, growing, or changing when necessary. She is teachable, understanding that wisdom is not about having all the answers, but about seeking the right ones from the right source. She meditates on God's word, knowing that Scripture is the foundation of all wisdom. When faced with choices, she asks, "What does God's word say about this?" Instead of simply trusting her own thoughts, a wise woman also knows the value of her words. She speaks with kindness, grace, and truth. She does not use her tongue to tear others down, but to build them up. She understands that wisdom is shown not just in what she says, but in how she listens. She is slow to anger, quick to forgive, and careful with her speech, knowing that words have the power to bring life or destruction. Walking in wisdom also means knowing when to be still and when to move. There are times when God calls her to wait, to be patient, to trust His process, and she obeys without frustration. And when He calls her to step forward in faith, she moves without hesitation because she knows her steps are ordered by the Lord. She does not lean on her own logic or on the advice of the world, but follows the leading of the Holy Spirit. A woman of wisdom does not chase temporary satisfaction. She invests in what is eternal. She seeks God's kingdom first, and because of that, He directs her path. She avoids foolish distractions, unnecessary conflicts, and harmful relationships. Because she understands the value of living in alignment with God's will, her life is marked by peace, by purpose, and by the undeniable evidence that she is a woman led by the wisdom of God. A woman blessed by God is not defined by the world's standards, but by the presence of God in her life. She walks in divine purpose, knowing that she has been chosen for something greater. She overcomes fear with faith, standing firm in the promises of her heavenly Father. Her heart is filled with compassion, pouring out love and grace, just as she has received from God. She is strong and resilient, not because life has been easy, but because she has learned to rely on the one who sustains her. Her life is built on prayer. Her power is drawn from her connection with God, and her wisdom is rooted in His Word. She is not perfect, but she is growing. She is not without struggles, but she is victorious. She is not alone, for God is with her every step of the way. She understands that her blessings are not just for herself, but for those around her, her family, her community, and everyone who crosses her path. She is a light in the darkness, a reflection of God's goodness, and a living testimony of His faithfulness. So to every woman listening today, you are not forgotten. You are not ordinary. You are called, chosen, and deeply loved by the Creator of the universe. Walk in your purpose. Hold on to faith. Love without fear. Stand in your strength. Pray without ceasing. Seek wisdom from above. And never forget, when God's hand is upon your life, you are truly blessed beyond measure. May God bless you and keep you, and may His grace shine upon you all the days of your life. Music. Let me start by telling you something that will challenge everything the world has told you. Attraction is not about the shape of your body, the brand of your clothes, or the amount of makeup you wear. No, true attractiveness is something deeper, something undeniable, something powerful, something that turns heads without you even trying. You see, the world has taught women to chase beauty, but I am here to tell you that real beauty chases you when you become an attractive woman from the inside out. When you walk into a room, do people notice? Do they feel something different about you? If not, It's time to unlock the 7 signs of a truly attractive woman. And let me warn you, this message will transform the way you see yourself forever. Now, before you dismiss yourself thinking, I don't feel attractive, let me remind you, you don't need the world to validate your beauty. You need to activate the attraction that is already within you. Stay with me, because by the end of this message you will discover that your attractiveness is not a coincidence. It is a calling. Confidence that speaks without words. A highly attractive woman does not ask for permission to be confident. She enters a room with her shoulders back, her head high in a spirit that says, I belong here. You see, confidence is not arrogance. It is the awareness of your worth. A woman who knows her value does not settle for anything beneath it. 2, she has a vision bigger than herself. A woman with vision is like a flame. She cannot be ignored. She is focused, determined, and passionate about her purpose. When a woman knows where she is going, she naturally draws the right people toward her. The world respects a woman on a mission. 3, emotional intelligence. She responds, she doesn't react. A truly attractive woman knows how to handle her emotions. She does not allow situations to control her. She controls how she responds to situations. She is composed under pressure, wise in her words, and powerful in her presence. 4, she elevates those around her. A highly attractive woman is not in competition. She is in collaboration. She makes people feel seen, valued, and inspired. When she enters a space, she doesn't just take attention, she gives life. 5, her standards are unshakable. A woman who knows her worth does not compromise. She does not lower her standards for temporary satisfaction. She stands firm in her values, and the world respects a woman who refuses to settle. 6, she radiates femininity and strength. Attractiveness is not about being weak. It is about mastering the balance between grace and power. She is strong enough to lead, but soft enough to love. She understands that femininity is not a limitation. It is a force. 7, she knows that true beauty comes from within. At the core of every highly attractive woman is one truth. Her beauty is not defined by the world. It is defined by the light she carries inside her. She invests in her mind, her spirit, and her character. And because of this, she is unforgettable. Ladies, your attractiveness is not in what you wear. It is in who you are. If you embrace these 7 signs, you will not just be noticed. You will be remembered. And the world will not just see you. They will feel your presence. So I leave you with this. Stop chasing beauty and start cultivating attraction. Because when you walk in your true attractiveness, doors will open. Opportunities will find you, and the right people will be drawn to you not because of what you wear, but because of the woman you have become. A highly attractive woman does not need to announce her confidence. It is felt before she even utters a word. The moment she walks into a room, her presence is undeniable. She doesn't shrink herself to fit into spaces that were never meant to contain her. She stands tall not because she seeks attention, but because she understands her worth. Confidence is not arrogance, nor is it loud. It is the quiet assurance of a woman who knows exactly who she is. She does not beg for validation because she is already validated by the truth she carries within her. Her confidence does not come from compliments, the latest fashion, or the opinions of others. It is not dependent on how many likes she receives on social media, or how many people tell her she is beautiful. No, her confidence is rooted in something much deeper. It is in the way she values herself. She does not allow the world to define her because she has already defined herself. When she speaks, her voice carries authority, not because she is the loudest in the room, but because she speaks from a place of clarity and conviction. She does not rush to prove herself, nor does she feel the need to explain why she belongs. She simply does. This kind of confidence is magnetic. It does not chase, it attracts. It does not demand, it commands. When a woman walks in confidence, people take notice. Not because she is trying to be seen, but because her energy naturally draws attention. It is in her posture, her eye contact, her ability to hold space without fear. She does not fidget with insecurity, nor does she second-guess her every move. Instead, she moves with purpose, knowing that she brings value wherever she goes. The beauty of confidence is that it is not just seen, it is felt. It is in the way she listens attentively, fully engaged in the moment, making those around her feel valued. It is in the way she carries herself with grace, neither competing nor comparing because she understands that her uniqueness is her greatest asset. A confident woman does not dim her light for anyone, but she also does not feel the need to overshadow others. She celebrates the success of others without insecurity because she knows that their success does not diminish her own. And yet her confidence is not the absence of fear or doubt. It is her ability to move forward despite them. She has faced rejection, failure, and moments of uncertainty, but she refuses to let those experiences define her. Instead, she learns, she grows, and she rises stronger each time. Her confidence is not fragile because it is not built on external factors. It is built on the foundation of self-respect, wisdom, and inner strength. A woman who embodies this kind of confidence is unstoppable. She does not wait for permission to take up space. She does not apologize for being herself, and she does not lower her standards to fit in. A highly attractive woman is not just focused on her present circumstances. She sees beyond them. She has a vision that goes beyond her personal desires, beyond temporary pleasures, and beyond what is immediately visible. She does not live life passively waiting for things to happen to her. Instead, she takes ownership of her future knowing that she was created for something greater. She is not satisfied with just existing. She is determined to make an impact. Her vision gives her direction, and direction gives her power. While others are distracted by fleeting trends and meaningless pursuits, she stays committed to a path that aligns with her purpose. This kind of woman is not swayed by the opinions of the crowd because she knows where she is going. She does not allow herself to be pulled into relationships, conversations, or environments that do not support her vision. She understands that every choice she makes either pushes her closer to her goals or pulls her further away. Because she has a clear sense of purpose, she carries herself with a different energy. There is a fire in her eyes, a determination in her step, and a confidence in her voice that tells the world she is not here to waste time. This makes her highly attractive, not just physically, but intellectually and spiritually. People are drawn to a woman who knows what she wants because she inspires them to seek more for themselves. She does not sit around waiting for opportunities. She creates them. She does not complain about her circumstances. She finds ways to rise above them. Her vision is not just about personal success. It is about making a difference. She is not only concerned with her own elevation, but with how she can elevate others. She sees beyond her own needs and asks, "How can I use my gifts to impact the world?" This mindset makes her unstoppable. A woman with a vision is dangerous to mediocrity because she refuses to settle. She does not waste time in relationships that drain her, environments that limit her, or mindsets that keep her small. This kind of focus makes her deeply attractive. People admire her discipline, her ability to say no to distractions, and her relentless pursuit of something greater. She does not spend hours worrying about what others think of her because she is too busy building her future. She does not beg for attention because her work speaks for itself. Her vision gives her an aura of confidence that cannot be faked. She walks into a room, and without saying a word, people can sense that she is different. They can see that she is on a mission, that she has a fire within her that cannot be extinguished. She does not need to prove herself because her actions show who she is, and that more than anything else makes her truly unforgettable. A highly attractive woman is not easily shaken by the chaos around her. She is not controlled by emotions, but rather she masters them. while others react impulsively, allowing circumstances to dictate their mood and behavior. She responds with wisdom, grace, and control. This ability to remain composed in difficult situations is what sets her apart. She does not allow negativity, gossip, or temporary emotions to drive her decisions. Instead, she takes a step back, evaluates, and chooses her response carefully. Her emotional intelligence is not about suppressing feelings. It is about understanding them. She acknowledges when she is hurt, frustrated, or disappointed. But she does not let those emotions define her actions. She knows that reacting in anger, bitterness, or insecurity only leads to regret. So instead of speaking words she cannot take back or making decisions she will later regret, she pauses, processes, and responds with intention. This self-awareness makes her a woman of strength and depth. People are drawn to her because she is steady, not easily thrown off course by the ups and downs of life. This kind of woman does not engage in unnecessary drama. She does not allow toxic conversations to consume her energy, nor does she waste time proving herself to people who do not value her. When faced with criticism, she does not lash out. She listens, filters, and applies only what is useful. When someone tries to provoke her, she does not take the bait. She remains calm, knowing that her peace is more valuable than a temporary argument. This level of self draws strength without aggression, power without arrogance. Music. She also understands the emotions of those around her. She does not just listen to respond. She listens to understand. She is empathetic, aware of the feelings of others, and knows how to navigate conversations with wisdom. This makes her an incredible friend, partner, and leader. She does not dismiss the emotions of others, but she also does not allow their emotions to dictate her own. She knows how to offer comfort without taking on unnecessary burdens, how to support without losing herself. A woman with emotional intelligence is rare because she carries both power and peace. She does not seek revenge when she is wronged. She knows that maturity is the best response. She does not let temporary setbacks shake her confidence. She understands that life is about growth. This emotional maturity makes her irresistibly attractive because it creates an aura of stability. People feel safe around her. They trust her. They respect her, and they admire the way she carries herself with dignity, even in difficult situations. A woman who can control her emotions controls her life. She does not waste time in battles that do not serve her, and she does not let other people's opinions define her mood. She moves with wisdom, speaks with grace, and lives with purpose. This kind of presence is not just noticed, it is unforgettable. A highly attractive woman is not just admired for her beauty or intelligence. She is deeply valued because of the way she lifts others. She does not see life as a competition, but as an opportunity to build, inspire, and empower those around her. She carries a presence that makes people feel seen, heard, and valued. Wherever she goes, she leaves people better than she found them. Her attractiveness is not just in her appearance, but in the way she makes others feel. She is the kind of woman who celebrates the success of others without insecurity. She does not dim her light out of fear that someone else will shine brighter, nor does she try to outshine others to prove her worth. She understands that true success is not about standing alone at the top, but about lifting others as she climbs. She recognizes that when she empowers others, she strengthens herself. Her words uplift, her actions inspire, and her presence creates an atmosphere of growth. People are naturally drawn to her because she carries an energy that is both encouraging and contagious. She does not engage in gossip, tear people down, or entertain negativity. Instead, she speaks life into those around her. She listens with intention, offers wisdom where needed, and gives support without expecting anything in return. She is secure enough in herself to know that helping others does not take away from her own greatness. Instead, it multiplies it. This kind of woman does not need to demand respect. She earns it effortlessly. Her kindness is not a weakness. It is a strength that sets her apart. She does not view other women as threats, but as allies. She does not seek to manipulate or control, but to uplift and inspire. She understands that true power is not in dominating others, but in helping them rise to their potential because she elevates those around her. People naturally seek her presence. She becomes the kind of woman whose absence is felt when she is not in the room. She is the friend who offers encouragement, the leader who instills confidence, and the partner who brings out the best in her significant other. She is not content with just existing. She wants to make an impact. She sees potential in people before they see it in themselves, and she speaks to that potential. Her attractiveness is undeniable because it is not rooted in superficial qualities, but in the way she makes people feel. She does not need to chase validation because people recognize her value. She is magnetic, not because she demands attention, but because she gives so much of herself without losing who she is. Her ability to elevate others makes her rare, and rarity is always attractive. A highly attractive woman is not easily swayed by pressure, trends, or temporary desires. She knows who she is, what she wants, and most importantly, what she will not accept. Her standards are not negotiable, and that makes her incredibly powerful. She does not lower herself to fit into situations that do not align with her values. She does not entertain relationships that drain her, nor does she engage in conversations that compromise her integrity. She stands firm in what she believes, and that firmness commands respect. She is not moved by empty promises or sweet words with no action. She sees beyond appearances and looks at the character of a person. She does not allow loneliness to push her into settling for less than she deserves. She understands that waiting for the right thing is far better than accepting the wrong thing just to feel temporary satisfaction. Her self-worth is not determined by how many people want her. It is determined by how well she honors herself. People quickly learn that they cannot manipulate or deceive her because she is not desperate for approval. She does not need someone else to validate her choices because she has already validated them within herself. She knows that when she compromises her standards, she also compromises her peace. And for her, peace is priceless. She applies this strength not only in relationships, but in every aspect of her life. She does not accept mediocre friendships, meaningless conversations, or environments that stunt her growth. She is intentional about the people she surrounds herself with because she knows that the company she keeps shapes her future. She would rather walk alone than walk with those who pull her backward. Her standards also apply to how she carries herself. She does not dress for attention, but for self-respect. She does not engage in reckless behavior just to feel included. She does not waste time proving herself to those who refuse to see her worth. She knows that her value is non-negotiable, and she moves through life with the confidence of a woman who understands that she is priceless. This level of self-respect makes her magnetic. People admire her discipline even if they do not always understand it. They see her strength even when it intimidates them. She does not chase relationships, opportunities, or approval. She attracts them because she refuses to settle for anything beneath her standards. She is rare because she chooses substance over shortcuts, depth over convenience, and purpose over popularity. A highly attractive woman understands the power of balance. She embodies both grace and strength, softness and resilience. She does not see femininity as a weakness, nor does she believe strength must come at the cost of her gentle nature. Instead, she walks with a quiet confidence, knowing that true power is not in how loudly she speaks, but in the way she carries herself. Her presence commands respect without demanding it. She has mastered the art of being both nurturing and unbreakable, kind yet firm, warm but unwavering. Her femininity is not defined by how she looks, but by how she moves through the world. She embraces the elegance of being a woman, not in a way that seeks approval, but in a way that honors herself. She understands that her words, her tone, and her energy all contribute to the atmosphere she creates. She does not have to force attraction because her presence alone makes an impact. When she speaks, her voice carries wisdom, not just emotion. When she enters a room, she does not shrink to make others comfortable, nor does she overpower to prove her worth. She simply exists in her full essence, and that is enough. She knows that strength does not mean she has to be harsh or aggressive. She does not need to raise her voice to be heard, nor does she have to fight to be taken seriously. She is secure in herself, and that security makes her undeniable. Her strength is seen in the way she handles challenges, not with fear, but with a quiet resolve that says, "I will overcome." She does not fall apart when faced with difficulty, nor does she allow obstacles to break her spirit. Instead, she adapts. She learns, and she rises. At the same time, she does not reject her ability to nurture, to love deeply, and to express kindness. She knows that true femininity is not about weakness. It is about influence. She influences without forcing. She inspires without demanding, and she leads without needing to dominate. She is a safe place for those she cares about. Yet she does not allow herself to be taken for granted. She is gentle but not naive, giving but not easily manipulated, loving but not desperate. People are drawn to her because she possesses something rare, an energy that is both soothing and powerful. She has nothing to prove, and yet she is unforgettable. She does not compete with others because she understands that her uniqueness is her greatest strength. She does not seek to control, yet people naturally follow her lead. She embodies the perfect balance of softness and steel, a woman who moves with grace but stands like a mountain. A woman who radiates both femininity and strength is irresistible. Not because she tries to be, but because she simply is. A highly attractive woman is not defined by society's fleeting standards of beauty. Her appeal is not rooted in mere physical appearance, but in the depth of her character, the strength of her spirit, and the way she carries herself with dignity and grace. She is confident without arrogance, powerful without aggression, and kind without being taken for granted. She does not chase validation because she knows her worth. She does not compromise her standards because she understands that true value is non-negotiable. Her presence commands respect, not through force, but through the undeniable energy she carries. She does not shrink to make others comfortable, nor does she overpower to prove herself. Instead, she moves with purpose, speaks with wisdom, and loves with an open yet discerning heart. She is a woman who elevates others, who sees beyond the present, and who refuses to settle for anything less than what aligns with her purpose. A woman like this is rare, but not because she is impossible to become. She is rare because few are willing to do the inner work required to embody such qualities. But for the woman who dares to rise, who dares to refine her confidence, sharpen her vision, master her emotions, and protect her peace, she becomes unstoppable. She does not just turn heads, she changes lives. So to every woman listening, I challenge you today. Do not simply seek to be noticed, seek to be unforgettable. Do not chase admiration. Cultivate self-respect. Do not lower your standards. Rise to meet them. Because when you become a woman of true value, the world has no choice but to recognize the power of your presence. You are more than attractive. You are extraordinary. Now walk like music it. My friend, there is a battle today, a battle for, the heart, the soul, and the foundation of relationships. And one of the greatest forces in that battle is the role of a woman in a man's life. You see, the strength of a man is often reflected in the woman beside him. But what happens when that influence is misguided? What happens when a woman unknowingly does things that weaken rather than strengthen the man she loves? Many homes are breaking, many hearts are wounded, and many destinies are shattered because we have lost sight of the divine order of relationships. But today we're going to expose 9 dangerous things that a woman should never do with a man, Because if she does, she is not only hurting him, she is hurting herself. I want you to stay with me until the very end, because what I'm about to share could change the course of a relationship, a marriage, or even a life. Let's not make the mistakes that so many have made before. Let's learn, grow, and walk in wisdom. 1. Do not disrespect him. A man thrives on respect, just as a woman thrives on love. When a woman openly disrespects a man, whether in public or private, she strikes at the core of his being. He may not always say it, but he feels it. And over time, disrespect will drive a wedge so deep that even love struggles to survive. 2. Do not compare him to other men. Nothing destroys a man's confidence more than hearing that he is not good enough compared to someone else, whether it's a past relationship, a friend's husband, or a public figure. Comparisons breed resentment and insecurity. Every man is on his own journey. Encourage him. Don't belittle him. 3. Do not nag or criticize excessively. There is a difference between encouragement and nagging. One builds, the other breaks. A man does not need constant reminders of his failures. He needs someone who believes in him despite them. Speak life into him, and you will see him rise. 4. Do not use intimacy as a weapon. A relationship should never be a battlefield where affection is used as a bargaining chip. Love is meant to be given freely, not as a tool of manipulation. A man's heart responds to genuine love, not condition. 5. Do not undermine his role as a leader. A woman's strength does not come from tearing a man down, but from standing beside him, undermining his leadership. Whether in a marriage, a family, or a relationship, creates division. A house divided against itself cannot stand. 6. Do not force him to change for your comfort. Change must come from within. Many women enter relationships hoping to fix a man, molding him into their ideal image. But true love does not force, it inspires. If he must change, let it be through conviction, not pressure. 7. Do not keep secrets and lies. Trust is the foundation of every relationship. A woman who deceives a man, whether in small things or great, weakens that foundation. Truth, no matter how difficult, builds trust. Lies destroy it. 8. Do not neglect his need for support. The world is heavy on a man's shoulders. He fights battles you may never see, struggles you may never know. A woman should not ignore his silent cries for support. A simple word of encouragement can turn his darkest night into morning. 9. Do not lead him away from faith and righteousness. A woman has the power to bring a man closer to his Creator or pull him away. If she leads him into darkness, she will answer for it. But if she strengthens his faith, she will be blessed for it. My friends, love is not just about what we do. It is about what we choose not to do. It is about wisdom, patience, and the power of influence. Today, I challenge every woman listening. Be a woman of honor, of grace, and of wisdom. Build him up, and you will see a man who stands taller, loves deeper, and walks stronger. And in doing so, you will find yourself loved, honored, and cherished in return. May you walk in wisdom and love, and may your relationships be filled with strength and purpose. A woman's influence over a man is profound, often in ways that go unnoticed. From the moment she steps into his life, her words, actions, and demeanor begin to shape his thoughts, his confidence, and his direction. A man may have strength in his hands, but a woman holds the power to guide that strength, either toward purpose or destruction. Many do not realize that the way a woman speaks to a man, looks at him, or even reacts to his failures can determine the course of his life. A woman who constantly builds up a man with encouragement, wisdom, and grace will see him rise to heights he never thought possible. On the other hand, a woman who tears him down, ridicules him, or dismisses his value will watch him shrink into uncertainty, questioning his worth and ability. History has shown time and again that the success or downfall of great men has often been linked to the influence of a woman. Whether it is a mother, a wife, or even a friend, the presence of a strong, wise, and supportive woman can make the difference between a man standing firm in his calling or falling into despair. The power of influence is not in how loud a woman speaks, but in the consistency of her presence, the way she carries herself, and the belief she instills in the man beside her. A single word of affirmation from the right woman can push a man to take risks, to step into leadership, to pursue his dreams with courage. Conversely, a single word of doubt spoken at the wrong time can cause him to hesitate, retreat, and abandon the very things he was destined for. Many women underestimate the power they wield. They assume that a man's strength means he does not need encouragement, or that his confidence is unshakable. But the truth is, even the strongest of men have moments of weakness, and it is in those moments that the words and actions of a woman become either a refuge or a storm. When a man is faced with failure, rejection, or the burdens of life, he will often look to the woman closest to him for reassurance. If she meets him with criticism, he will withdraw. If she meets him with faith, he will fight harder. There is no magic formula to influencing a man positively. But the foundation is respect, wisdom, and understanding. A woman who listens before she speaks, who encourages rather than complains, who supports rather than controls, will always have a man who feels safe in her presence. Influence is not about domination. It is about inspiration. It is not about forcing a man to change, but showing him the greatness that already exists within him. A woman's influence can either be a light that guides a man forward or a weight that holds him back. And whether she realizes it or not, she is shaping his future with every word, every action, and every moment she spends by his side. Respect is the foundation of every meaningful relationship, and when a woman respects a man, she empowers him to lead, to grow, and to become the best version of himself. A man does not need to be controlled. He needs to be understood. Many relationships suffer because a woman out of fear, frustration, or insecurity tries to control a man rather than respect him. She may think she is guiding him, but in reality, she is stripping him of his dignity, his confidence, and his sense of purpose. Control is rooted in a lack of trust, but respect is rooted in faith. Faith in his abilities, faith in his leadership, and faith in the fact that he can make wise decisions. A man desires respect as deeply as a woman desires love. It is woven into his nature. When a woman tries to control a man, constantly questioning his choices, criticizing his efforts, or belittling his leadership, she unknowingly pushes him away. He may not argue or fight back, but inside, he will retreat. Over time, he will stop trying, stop leading, and stop pursuing the things that once made him strong. A man who feels disrespected does not feel valued, and a man who does not feel valued will not give his best to a relationship. The irony is that the more a woman tries to control a man, the less influence she actually has over him. But the more she respects him, the more he willingly listens to her, considers her, and cherishes her guidance. Respect does not mean blind submission, nor does it mean ignoring faults or accepting anything less than integrity. True respect is about acknowledging a man's strengths, recognizing his efforts, and allowing him the space to be who he is meant to be. A woman who respects a man will inspire him to grow rather than force him to change. She will offer her wisdom with grace rather than demand obedience. She will encourage his leadership rather than undermine it. The greatest leaders in history did not rise because someone controlled them, but because someone believed in them. That belief expressed through respect can transform an ordinary man into an extraordinary one. A woman must ask herself, does she build up the man in her life or does she tear him down? Does she trust his judgment or does she always assume she knows better? Does she allow him the dignity of making decisions or does she constantly correct, question, and challenge his every move? A woman who respects a man does not lose her voice. In fact, her voice becomes even more powerful because he listens when she speaks. Her words carry weight because they are not spoken from a place of control, but from a place of trust and admiration. The difference between a strong, confident man and a weak, uncertain one is often the way he is treated by the woman in his life. A respected man will move mountains for the woman who honors him. A controlled man will silently resent the woman who tries to mold him into someone he is not. Emotions are powerful, and when used wisely, they can deepen a relationship, strengthen bonds, and bring understanding between a man and a woman. But when emotions are misused, when they become weapons, rather than bridges, they can cause division, resentment, and even destroy what was once strong. A woman's ability to express emotions is one of her greatest gifts, but it must be guided by wisdom. There is a difference between being open and being reckless, between sharing feelings and using them as tools of manipulation. Many women, often, without realizing it, use emotions to control situations, to test a man's patience, or to gain the upper hand in a disagreement. But emotions should never be used as a means of power. They should be used to bring clarity, healing, and deeper connection. A man is not immune to emotions, but he processes them differently. While a woman may express her feelings openly, a man may struggle to articulate what is in his heart. This difference can lead to misunderstandings where a woman believes a man does not care simply because he does not react the way she expects. But the truth is, a man often feels more than he shows. He carries burdens silently. He internalizes stress and he wrestles with pressures that he may never fully put into words. A wise woman understands this and does not mistake his silence for indifference. Instead of demanding that he express himself exactly as she does, she learns to read between the lines to see his love in his actions rather than just his words. Emotional wisdom also means knowing when and how to express feelings. Not every problem needs to be addressed in the heat of the moment. A woman who constantly reacts based on temporary emotions without considering the consequences can push a man away. Harsh words spoken in anger cannot be taken back. Accusations made in frustration can leave wounds that linger long after the argument is over. A woman must learn to pause, to reflect, and to choose her words with care. There is a time to speak and a time to wait. There is a way to express disappointment without crushing a man's spirit, a way to voice concerns without making him feel like a failure. A woman who understands this will always have a man who listens because he knows her words come from love, not from a desire to hurt or control. Another dangerous misuse of emotions is the tendency to hold on to past hurts and bring them up repeatedly. A relationship cannot grow if it is weighed down by constant reminders of past mistakes. Forgiveness is essential, and emotional wisdom means letting go of what has already been addressed. A woman who constantly revisits old wounds is not seeking resolution. She is seeking power. But power at the cost of peace is never worth it. A man cannot thrive in an environment where he is always on trial, always having to prove himself, always being reminded of his past failures. A wise woman builds a future with her man instead of chaining him to his past. A woman's dignity and purity are among her greatest treasures, not only in how she presents herself, but in how she allows others, especially a man, to treat her. In a world where values are often compromised for temporary pleasures, it is easy to forget that true worth is not found in external approval, but in inner strength. A woman who understands her value will never settle for less than she deserves. She will not give herself away carelessly, nor will she allow a man to dictate her worth. Dignity is not arrogance. It is knowing who you are and refusing to let anyone diminish that. Purity is not just about physical boundaries. It is about guarding the heart, the mind, and the soul from anything that cheapens love and self-respect. When a woman compromises her dignity for the sake of keeping a man, she loses more than just his respect, she loses her own. Many women believe that by giving in to a man's every desire, they will secure his love and loyalty. But the truth is, a man does not truly cherish what comes too easily. What is freely given without boundaries is often taken for granted. A woman must establish her standards early on, making it clear what she will and will not accept. A man who truly values her will rise to meet those standards, but a man who only seeks to take advantage will walk away. And if he walks away, she has lost nothing. She has only been spared from heartbreak. Dignity is also reflected in how a woman carries herself in public and private. The way she speaks, the way she dresses, the way she demands respect without having to say a word. These things tell a man how to treat her. A woman who respects herself will naturally attract respect from others. She does not beg for love, nor does she tolerate mistreatment. She knows that her worth is not dependent on whether a man stays or goes. She is complete in herself, and that confidence is what draws the right kind of man into her life. Purity, in a deeper sense, is about keeping the heart untainted by bitterness, jealousy, or desperation. Many women allow past hurts to harden them, turning them into someone they never intended to be. They build walls instead of setting healthy boundaries. And in doing so, they keep out not only the wrong men, but also the right ones. A woman who guards her heart wisely does not let pain define her. She moves forward with grace, knowing that her dignity is not something that can be taken. It is something that must be given away, and she chooses not to give it away cheaply. A woman should never allow a man to strip her of her dignity, whether through manipulation, disrespect, or emotional games. She must stand firm, knowing that real love does not require her to lower her standards. A man who truly loves and honors a woman will protect her purity, not pressure her to compromise it. A relationship is only as strong as the foundation it is built upon. If a woman leads a man away from faith, integrity, and righteousness, she is not only harming him, but also herself. A house built on sand will collapse when the storms of life come, but a house built on solid ground will stand through any trial. In the same way, when a woman encourages a man to abandon his faith, his principles, or his moral compass, she is shaking the very ground he stands on. A man may be strong in many ways, but if he loses sight of what truly matters, his relationship with God, his integrity, his sense of purpose, he becomes vulnerable to confusion, weakness, and ultimately destruction. A woman has the power to either strengthen a man's faith or weaken it. If she constantly questions his beliefs, mocks his convictions, or tempts him to compromise his values, she is not acting in love, but in selfishness. Many relationships fail not because of external challenges, but because one person leads the other away from the truth. A woman must ask herself, is she guiding the man in her life toward wisdom, or is she pulling him into chaos? Is she reinforcing his faith, or is she causing him to doubt the very things that once gave him strength? A wise woman understands that true love does not separate a man from his faith. It deepens it. She does not become a distraction from his purpose, but a partner in his journey. She does not encourage him to take the easy road, to cut corners, or to forsake his principles for convenience. Instead, she walks with him in truth, reminding him of who he is and what he is meant to be. When a man is struggling, when he is tempted, when the weight of the world is on his shoulders, the right woman will not push him further into darkness. She will be a light, guiding him back to what is right, what is just, and what is true. But when a woman leads a man away from faith, she robs him of his greatest strength. He may not realize it immediately, but over time he will feel the emptiness. The man who once stood firm in his convictions will start to waver. The leader will become lost. The protector will become weak. And in the end, the relationship will suffer because no true love can thrive when built on deception, compromise, and a lack of spiritual foundation. Every woman must decide whether she will be the reason a man grows closer to his Creator or the reason he drifts away. She must choose whether she will be the one who helps him build his life on truth or the one who leads him down a path of regret. Love is not just about feelings. It is about purpose. A woman who truly loves a man will never ask him to abandon his faith, his integrity, or his calling. Instead, she will encourage him to stand firm, to grow stronger, and to build a future that is not only full of love, but also full of purpose and divine direction. Words have the ability to shape a man's heart, to build him up or tear him down, to inspire him or to wound him in ways that may never fully heal. A woman's voice carries a weight that she may not even realize. She can speak life into a man, giving him the courage to pursue his calling, or she can speak doubt, leaving him questioning his worth. A man may forget the things he hears from the world, but he will never forget the words spoken by the woman closest to him. What she says in moments of frustration, in moments of encouragement, or even in moments of silence can have a lasting impact on his confidence, his direction, and his sense of purpose. Many women underestimate the power of their words. They assume that because a man is strong, he is unaffected by criticism, sarcasm, or careless remarks. But a man's heart is not made of stone. Even the strongest men have moments of insecurity, moments where they question themselves, moments where they need reassurance. And when those moments come, the words of a woman can either be a lifeline or a dagger. A woman who constantly criticizes, nags, or belittles a man, whether in private or in front of others, slowly destroys his spirit. She may think she is simply expressing her frustration, but over time her words become a voice in his head telling him he is not enough, that he will never measure up, that nothing he does is ever right. On the other hand, a woman who speaks with wisdom and grace has the power to transform a man's life. She does not ignore his faults, but she corrects with love, not with condemnation. She does not use her words as weapons, but as tools to strengthen, to encourage, and to uplift. She understands that a man who feels respected, valued, and believed in will naturally rise to the occasion. He will strive to be better, not because he is being forced to, but because he is inspired to. Words of appreciation spoken sincerely can do more for a man than any material gift. A simple, "I believe in you," "I'm proud of you," or "I see how hard you're trying," can push a man to keep going even when he feels like giving up. But in the same way, words spoken in anger, words like, "You'll never change," "You're not good enough," or "I regret being with you," can leave scars that last a lifetime. A man may not always show it, but he carries those words with him, and they shape how he sees himself, how he approaches challenges, and how he interacts with the world. A woman must ask herself, are her words building or breaking? Are they inspiring confidence or planting doubt? A woman who understands the power of her words will choose them carefully, knowing that they have the ability to shape not only the man in her life, but also the future they are building together. A woman holds great influence in a man's life, whether she realizes it or not. Her words, her actions, her respect, and her wisdom all play a role in shaping the kind of man he becomes. A relationship is not just about emotions or attraction. It is about building something strong, something lasting, something rooted in faith, respect, and purpose. When a woman understands this, she does not seek to control a man, but to uplift him. She does not weaken his faith, but strengthens it. She does not use her emotions to manipulate, but to connect. She does not compromise her dignity, but stands firm in her worth. She does not tear him down with her words, but builds him up. A wise woman recognizes that she is not just in a relationship for her own happiness, but to be a partner in something greater. She understands that her role is not to diminish a man, but to help him become the best version of himself. And in doing so, she does not lose herself. She becomes stronger, more respected, and more cherished. So let every woman ask herself, am I building or breaking? Am I inspiring or discouraging? Am I helping the man in my life become stronger, wiser, and more faithful? Or am I leading him away from his purpose? The answer to these questions will determine not just the strength of the man, but the strength of the relationship. A woman has the power to make a man feel like a king or to reduce him to a shadow of what he could be. The choice is hers. And when she chooses wisdom, respect, faith, and love, she will not only see the man beside her flourish, but she will also experience a relationship that is built to last. Music. My friends, listen to me. Too many of you are exhausted. Too many of you are carrying the weight of relationships, friendships, and situationships where your kindness is taken for granted. And yet, you keep giving. You keep excusing. You keep hoping. But tonight, I'm here to tell you, stop being nice to men. I know that sounds radical. I know it shakes the foundation of everything you were taught. Be kind. Be gentle. Be understanding. They told you it was the way to love. But what they didn't tell you is that there is a difference between kindness and servitude. And too many of you are out here serving men who do not respect you. You see, some of you think that if you are just a little bit more patient, a little bit more accommodating, a little bit more nice, then he will change. He will see your worth. He will finally treat you the way you deserve. But let me ask you, how much longer will you wait? How much more will you give before you realize that your kindness is not being honored but exploited? Ladies, hear me tonight. Men do not respect what they do not have to work for. If your love, your time, your forgiveness, and your loyalty are given without cost, they will be taken without appreciation. Some of you are afraid to say no because you fear losing him. But I tell you this, if you must shrink yourself to keep a man, then you have already lost. It is time to stop mistaking tolerance for love. It is time to stop being nice at the expense of your own peace. It is time to set the boundaries that demand respect. Because true love, real, honest, godly love, does not ask you to be silent in your suffering. It does not ask you to sacrifice your dignity in the name of patience. So tonight, I am asking you, no. I am begging you, stop being nice to men who do not deserve it. Love yourself enough to walk away from anyone who treats your kindness as weakness. And when you do, you will find that the right people, the ones who are worthy of your heart, will meet you at the level of respect you demand. Let tonight be the night you make the decision. Let tonight be the night you reclaim your worth. And when you do, my friends, you will finally see the difference between being nice and being valued. The burden of niceness is a weight that many women carry without even realizing it. It begins early, ingrained in childhood when they are told to be polite, to smile, to accommodate, to make others feel comfortable even at their own expense. It continues into adulthood, manifesting in relationships where they give endlessly, hoping that their kindness will be enough to earn love, respect, and commitment. But too often, this endless giving is met with indifference, entitlement, or even mistreatment. Women are told that if they just hold on a little longer, if they just understand him a little more, if they just don't nag, don't complain, don't push too hard, then everything will eventually fall into place. And so they wait. They give second chances. They forgive things that should never be forgiven. They excuse behavior that deep down they know is wrong, all in the name of being nice. The problem is that niceness, when given without limits, becomes a silent invitation for mistreatment. When a man realizes that no matter how little he gives, she will still be there, still loving, still supporting, still sacrificing, he has no reason to change. He has no reason to do better. He has no reason to value what is so freely given to him. Women carry the weight of maintaining relationships, managing emotions, soothing egos, and making life easier for men who put in little effort in return. They stretch themselves thin, pouring out love and patience while receiving inconsistency, half-hearted apologies, and broken promises. The exhaustion that comes with always being the one to hold things together becomes overwhelming. But they are told that this is what love requires, that to be a good woman is to be endlessly patient, endlessly forgiving, endlessly giving. And yet the truth is that niceness does not create respect. It does not build a foundation of mutual effort. It does not force accountability. Instead, it enables complacency. It teaches men that they can take without giving, that they can wound without consequence, that they can be careless with a woman's heart and still be met with understanding. But understanding without accountability is just self-destruction. It is allowing yourself to be drained bit by bit until there is nothing left. Women must recognize that being too nice is not a virtue when it comes at the cost of self-respect. There is a difference between being kind and being a doormat, between being loving and being a martyr, between standing by someone and standing in your own worth. Niceness should never be a woman's greatest quality in a relationship. Strength should be self-respect, should be the ability to walk away when she is not valued, should be. Because the truth is, a man who truly cares, a man who is truly worthy, will never demand endless patience without effort, endless love without reciprocation, endless sacrifice without appreciation. And until women stop carrying the burden of always being nice, they will continue to find themselves empty, exhausted, and unfulfilled. Respect and servitude are often mistaken for the same thing. But they could not be more different. Women are told from a young age that being good, being loving, and being desirable means catering to the needs of others, particularly men. They are taught that a good woman is one who is agreeable, accommodating, and selfless, that love is about sacrifice, that patience is a virtue, that standing by a man through all his flaws is a sign of strength. But what they are not told is that there is a fine line between kindness and self-betrayal. Too many women find themselves in relationships, friendships, and even workplaces where they are giving endlessly not out of true choice, but out of obligation. They believe that if they give more, tolerate more, forgive more, then they will finally be seen, finally be valued, finally be loved in the way they deserve. But servitude is not the price of respect, and a woman who lowers herself, who exhausts herself in the name of being nice, is not earning admiration. She is being taken for granted. A man does not respect what he does not have to work for. If a woman bends over backward to accommodate him, to soften every harsh truth, to accept every broken promise, then he has no reason to change, no reason to appreciate what she brings into his life. He sees her as an extension of his own comfort, not as an individual with her own needs and boundaries. Women find themselves in a cycle where they believe their worth is tied to how much they can endure. They believe that love means standing by a man even when he does not deserve it. That being a good partner means never demanding too much, never questioning too much, never making him uncomfortable. But what they fail to see is that this is not love. This is servitude, and servitude will never bring respect. Respect is earned when boundaries are enforced. It is built when a woman knows her worth and refuses to settle for anything less. A man respects a woman who can walk away. He respects a woman who can demand effort, consistency, and accountability. He respects a woman who does not fear losing him because she values herself first. The moment a woman starts prioritizing her own well-being over the comfort of a man who refuses to do the work, she shifts the power. She is no longer at the mercy of his whims, no longer waiting for him to realize her worth because she already knows it herself. Women must ask themselves, am I being respected or am I simply being tolerated? Am I receiving love or am I just convenient? Am I being valued or am I just serving? The difference is everything because respect cannot be begged for. It cannot be earned through endless patience. It cannot be forced through niceness. It comes only when a woman refuses to accept anything less. The power of boundaries is one of the greatest strengths a woman can possess. Yet society has conditioned her to believe that setting limits is unkind, unloving, or even selfish. From childhood, women are taught to be agreeable, to put others' needs before their own, to avoid confrontation in the name of peace. They are made to believe that a good woman is one who is always available, always accommodating, always willing to give another chance. But what they are not told is that without boundaries, they will be used. Without boundaries, they will live their lives, bending to the will of others, while their own needs remain unmet. A woman without boundaries attracts people who thrive on taking advantage of them. She becomes the one who is always understanding when he disappears for days with no explanation. The one who forgives without accountability, who waits endlessly for a man to give her what he has already shown he will not. She believes that if she just loves harder, if she is just patient enough, things will change. But they never do, because people do not change when they have no reason to. A man will only rise to the level that a woman requires of him. If there are no consequences for disrespect, then the disrespect will continue. If she keeps showing up, keeps answering the phone, keeps accepting the excuses, then there is no motivation for him to do better. Why would he when he gets the benefits of her love without the responsibility of respecting it? A woman with strong boundaries, however, is a woman who commands respect. She does not entertain inconsistency. She does not accept half-hearted effort. She does not wait around for a man to decide if he values her. She already knows her worth, and she refuses to waste her energy on anyone who does not recognize it. When a man knows that she will walk away rather than tolerate mistreatment, he has two choices: rise to meet her standards or lose her entirely. And the truth is, a man who truly values her will always choose to step up. But if he does not, then she loses nothing because she refuses to settle for less. Setting boundaries is not cruelty. It is self-respect. It is saying, I love myself enough not to allow this. It is understanding that saying no is not unkind, that walking away is not a failure, that prioritizing one's own well-being is not selfish. It is a necessary act of self-preservation. The women who struggle the most are the ones who give endlessly, who pour into men who take and take until there is nothing left. But a woman with boundaries, she protects her peace, she protects her heart, and in doing so, she ensures that when she does give, it is to someone who is truly worthy of her. Demanding accountability is not an act of cruelty. It is an act of self-respect. Too many women have been conditioned to believe that holding a man responsible for his actions is synonymous with being difficult, unloving, or even ungrateful. They are taught to be patient, to be understanding, to give him time to grow, to avoid pressuring him, and so they excuse, they justify, they rationalize, they tell themselves that he didn't mean it, that he's just going through a phase, that if they are patient enough, he will change. But change does not come from patience alone. Change comes from accountability. And the hard truth is that men do not change when they are comfortable. They change when they are required to. A man who is never held accountable learns that he can say one thing and do another, that he can break promises without consequence, that he can ignore a woman's needs, neglect her emotions, and still expect her to stay. When there are no real consequences for his behavior, he has no incentive to do better. Women often find themselves in relationships where they are constantly lowering their expectations, making excuses for why he is not showing up in the way he should. He's just not good at expressing his feelings. He's had a rough past. He's not ready for commitment, but maybe one day. But the reality is a man who truly wants to be better will rise to the occasion, not because a woman tolerates his shortcut, but because she refuses to. Holding a man accountable means refusing to accept empty words. It means actions must match promises. It means when he disrespects, there are consequences. It means she does not sit quietly and suffer in silence just to keep the peace. Peace that comes at the cost of self-respect is not peace. It is submission. Women must learn to challenge the men in their lives, to stop allowing inconsistent, to stop making it, easy for men to remain emotionally irresponsible. If a woman does not demand more, she will not receive more. If she does not set a standard, she will never get what she truly deserves. Many women fear that holding a man accountable will push him away, that if they demand better, he will leave. But if setting a standard makes him walk away, then he was never truly there in the first place. A man who values a woman will not see accountability as an attack, but as an opportunity to grow. He will not run from responsibility. He will embrace it. And if he does not, then that is the clearest sign that she is wasting her time, because no matter how much love, patience, and understanding she gives, if a man refuses to be held accountable, then he is telling her exactly who he is, and she must believe him. Too many women have been taught to believe that their strength lies in their ability to endure, to compromise, to sacrifice. They have been told that demanding respect makes them difficult, that having standards makes them unreasonable, that expecting effort makes them too much. And so they shrink themselves. They lower their voices. They make themselves easier to love by accepting less than they deserve. But what they do not realize is that when a woman stops demanding respect, she starts accepting disrespect. She creates a reality where a man can do the bare minimum and still receive her time, her love, and her loyalty. She makes it clear that no matter how little effort he puts in, she will still be there. And once a man knows he does not have to work for her respect, he stops valuing it. Respect is not something a woman should have to beg for. It is not something she should have to fight for. It should be the foundation of every relationship she allows in her life. But respect is only given when it is required. A woman who demands respect is a woman who does not tolerate inconsistency, manipulation, or excuses. She does not settle for potential. She does not waste time on men who treat her as an option. She does not let words blind her when actions do not match. And when a man disrespects her, she does not explain why it hurt her. She simply removes herself. Because the moment she starts justifying why she deserves better is the moment she is already losing herself. A man will always treat a woman at the level she allows. If she accepts broken promises, he will keep making them. If she tolerates disrespect, he will keep disrespecting her. If she continues to show up for a man who does not prioritize her, he will never see a reason to change. Women must understand that love is not about endurance. It is not about suffering silently, hoping one day he will wake up and realize her worth. It is about mutual effort, mutual appreciation, mutual respect. And if that is not present, then it is not love, it is convenience. A woman who does not demand respect will be treated like an afterthought. A woman who knows her worth will be treated like a priority. The truth is, a man respects what he has to work for. He values what he fears losing, and he honors what he cannot replace. Women must stop fearing that demanding more will push a man away. If setting a standard makes him leave, then he was never meant to stay. If requiring respect feels like a battle, then the relationship was never built on the right foundation. Women must stop being afraid to walk away, because the right man will never see her standards as a challenge. He will see them as a privilege. And only then will she have the respect she has always deserved. A woman's strength is not measured by how much she can endure, how patient she can be, or how many chances she can give. It is measured by how firmly she stands in her own worth. Too many women believe that if they are just good enough, forgiving enough, understanding enough, they will finally be loved the way they deserve. But the truth is, love that requires you to abandon yourself is not love. It is self-betrayal. And the longer a woman waits hoping that a man will one day wake up and see her value, the longer she allows herself to be diminished, overlooked, and taken for granted. A woman must learn to stop settling for potential, for empty words, for half-hearted efforts that never amount to real commitment. She must stop trying to prove her worth to a man who does not see it. She must stop pouring love into someone who is unwilling to meet her halfway. Because love should not be a constant struggle for validation. It should not be a test of endurance. It should not be a place where she is constantly questioning whether she is enough. If a man cannot meet her where she is, if he cannot rise to the level of respect and effort she deserves, then he is simply not for her. And she must have the strength to let go. A woman who knows her worth does not beg for attention, for consistency, for basic decency. She does not sit in relationships where she is the only one trying. She does not waste her energy on a man who treats her like an afterthought. Instead, she invests in herself. She focuses on her own growth, her own peace, her own happiness. She builds a life so full, so rich, so fulfilling, that she does not need a man to complete her because she is already whole. And when a woman stands in her own power, she attracts only those who are strong enough to stand beside her. But two, many women fear that if they demand better, they will end up alone. That if they stop accepting less, no one will step up to give them more. And so they settle. They stay in relationships that drain them. They hold on to men who are not truly present. They convince themselves that something is better than nothing. But the truth is, there is nothing lonelier than being with someone who does not value you. There is nothing more exhausting than giving your all to someone who only gives you pieces in return. A woman must understand that walking away is not a loss. It is a victory. It is choosing herself over mediocrity. It is refusing to shrink for the comfort of a man who refuses to grow. It is stepping into the life she truly deserves, and when she does, she will see that the love she was begging for was never love at all. True love, real love, begins with the love she gives herself. It is time for women to stop equating love with suffering, patience with endurance, and kindness with self-sacrifice. It is time to stop being nice at the cost of self-respect. A woman's worth is not measured by how much she can tolerate, how much she can forgive, or how much she can endure before a man finally decides to value her. Her worth is inherent. It does not need to be proven. It does not need to be earned, and it certainly does not depend on a man's ability to recognize it. When a woman stops settling for less, she forces the world to meet her at the level she deserves. When she sets boundaries, she protects her heart. When she demands accountability, she commands respect. And when she walks away from anything that does not serve her, she reclaims her power, the love she wants, the life she dreams of, the respect she deserves. It all begins with the moment she chooses herself. So let this be the moment. Let this be the day she stops waiting for a man to change, stops hoping that love will come from suffering, stops believing that being nice will bring her the life she desires. Let this be the moment she stands up, stands firm, and refuses to accept anything less than what she knows she is worth. They will never meet back when they come from their screen. And let your life be less by never ever look back.